right in the beginning, Dr. Chaturvedi, I was not knowing that a trust and a foundation has been created with such a great vision, and that trust has already started functioning in a significant way. Mr. Dwarkanath gave a medium and long-term vision about this trust with a range of programs and projects, very ambitious. Congratulations to all of you for rightly forming a foundation or a trust in the name of late Dr. Pritam Singh, with the purpose and with the objective that throughout his life he pursued. And this will be a great tribute. And definitely, in some way or the other, I would definitely associate with the functioning and the activities of this trust. Vivek Mehraji spoke about the journey towards making this project happen, and Asha and Subir Verma gave a detailed picture about how this initiative was started and several decades of experience of Dr. Pritam Singh and decades of experience of Asha ji, and also several formal and informal discussions over dinner, over tea, and a range of research that has been done to bring out this book was described by Asha and Subir. Congratulations to both of you to be co-author of such a great thing that has been done. I must say that this is a wonderful book because I must say, Asha, that I got this book just now.
Okay.
Just now, yeah, just now the courier came, just at the right moment to show it when you are launching the book, just 5 minutes back. But
Okay.
till then I was depending on the soft copy, and I did glance through, as I can say that not the detailed reading, but just glancing through various chapters, and I'm deeply impressed that this book presents both a very high level macro picture and a different orbit, and at the same time getting into micro details. The micro details to the point of, in some of the chapters, the two chapters and chapter 4 and 5 perhaps, it recommends giving checklists, or as Mr. Suresh Narayan was saying, 10 items of last checklists, what not it should be like. And this gives in greater detail for various attributes, for various aspects, various approaches, various initiatives. What are the things that need to be checked? What are the things that need to be done? So therefore, this book is a futuristic and is a macro level picture about the subject that it is dealing with, but at the same time, it is also going into micro details. And therefore, I definitely feel that we did not have such a book to deal with this complex subject in so great detail as it has been able to do. It's not only the research or desk study of various literature that has been done in the past, but talking to different people. I think both of you, Dr. Asa Bhandarkar and Dr. Pritam Singh, did talk to me about this topic, and I'm happy. In one of the places, they have reproduced what I said about the state of affairs, about approach of people on research and development. I'm sure Dr. Narayan's organization must be doing much better. But my own view of the industry in this country has been, and only recently I finished an article which will come on the centenary book of the Institution of Engineers, being quite critical about approach of both public sector and private sector in India toward this great subject of research and innovation. And this book definitely not only quotes what I said, and it says that one of the energy professionals, a distinguished professional, thank you for saying distinguished professional, says that if the subject is very current and very important for India, Indian people think that somebody else in the West will do the research and not they need to do the research. So we wait for someone else to do the research. And that repeats and repeats and repeats. It has been repeating even now. I think both public sector and private sector have let us down. In most cases, I am not very much informed about Nestle's work on research to bring out certain things, but definitely maybe pharmaceutical has done something. But then great many companies, particularly energy sector, I think we are under pressure of problems, and yet we continue to think that somebody else will do the research. I think this book is about what role board can play, and I think I was listening very carefully what Mr. Narayan said, that how the boards, and this book is very critical. I think it is somewhat more critical. I mean, it's not a complaint, but somewhat more critical, maybe to bring home the point than this Indian industry perhaps deserves, in the sense that, as Mr. Narayan mentioned, that book says almost 60 or 70% of the boards, we have people like this and people like that, etc. It is true. I have myself personally been very critical of what is happening as the state of affairs, having worked in public sector, in private sector, in government directly, and then definitely I am not a happy person the way things are going on. But at the same time, uh, maybe you may be right in getting what you got out of the interviews, and the percentage is as high as that, but that is a disaster. Then that is a disaster. And I mean, but perhaps I think it is on the higher side of the picture, and no, we are not to correct it, to bring home the point, perhaps what needs to be said, and that's what in the endorsement to the book I did mention when Asa wrote me, and that has come in the book, that it has presented a picture, and it has said what is needed to be said, and it has suggested what needed to be suggested. So I think that is a perfect way of putting it. I think on corporate governance, and that's about the title of the book. I just it reminded me when I was completing my second book, Powering India: Policy Initiatives and Implementation Strategy, which I did after I just left the government, retired from the government in 2007-8. And I was sharing with Dr. Pritam Singh that this is the book I have finished and this is going for print. And he said, what is the title of the book? I said, it is Powering India: Policy Initiatives and Implementation Initiative. He added, before Powering India, you write Towards Powering India. So I can see, really, when I saw, you could as well have kept sustainable competitive edge of the organization, but you are saying towards. I think it was a very directional type of thought that he had. Towards, I mean, it's a positive one, that you move towards that, towards sustainable competitive edge of organizations. And then I immediately remembered that perhaps this towards is a very driving thing in the mind of Dr. Pritam Singh, that move towards this, do this and do that. And that is how this book, and that's about the title and my own memory of Dr. Pritam Singh. And I will ever be grateful to him for that suggestion. And many people complimented on this. And I also feel that if I had kept the title of the book, Powering India: Policy Initiatives and Implementation Strategy, it wouldn't have done justice to what we were trying to say there. The second aspect I definitely would like to touch, corporate governance, again was a very, very, very important subject close to his heart. I remember having participated as panel discussant or as a speaker in several seminars, I think way back, starting from 99, 2000, that Dr. Pritam Singh started number of such programs in Mumbai and other places when I used to be in Mumbai, on corporate governance in various places. So this is not something which was only now in the last 5 or 10 years. He definitely felt about corporate governance as a huge item in the system of working of both our public sector and private sector. I must also clarify, Suresh is here, that look, I have done both. I did public sector boards, and I did not that private, because when I was heading BSES, it was like L&T at that time, the professional, under the institution's control. And also I have seen the private sector. I would say that public sector, of course, is somewhat bureaucratic, but on many of the governance, corporate governance issues, you find you have better picture than even the private sector. Some of the private sector are much better, we can be proud of, but large number of private sector are not. So therefore, that figure may not be very much out when they have done what research they have done. So I think corporate governance, my own familiarity with this subject, I may tell you that when I was heading BSES, when it was totally professional, in between 94 to 2002, somewhere 97, 98 or 99, World Bank had done a big event in Washington, and one of the side seminars was on corporate governance. And at that time, corporate governance really was seen, as enhancing shareholders' value. Shareholders' value. That means it was such a limited definition, such a limited prescription, such a limited expectation about this whole phrase. That is, I am talking of that time. And that is the time CII was trying to evolve a code of conduct on corporate governance. And my company, BSES, at that time was one of the 16 or 17 companies when even government role had not come in corporate governance issues. Now it is much more. Our company, we had introduced, and we started writing every annual report on our implementation of those 17 code of conduct which CII did. I think this book analyzes that, not what I did. It analyzes the corporate governance issue, and I found very interesting thing. It comes to the conclusion after giving very many conceptual definitions as have developed over the period of time, but finally it does reconcile and perhaps recommend World Economic Forum's Davos Manifesto when it says that role of the company is to serve clients, shareholders, workers, employees, as well as societies, and to harmonize the different interests of the stakeholders. It specifically states that the management must ensure humanization, the word I think even Mr. Narayanan used, of workplace, and assume the role of trustee of the material universe of future generation. I think that could be the best prescription in current situation, contemporary situation of what corporate governance would look like. So therefore, people have been sort of vacillating about this right from late 90s, what corporate governance means, starting from a very narrow definition of enhancing shareholders' value to now seeing the whole society, whole community, the humanity as a whole. But on this, very few companies will stand the test, I must tell you. That is another problem. Sometimes from one end of the pendulum, we move to the other end of the pendulum, but very few companies will stand, because in today's age of competition, every company is trying. Take, for example, competition itself. In competition, one is trying to cut the others. And in so doing, there are so many things that normally get done, with exception of very few. Most of the people get victim of that type of an approach. So I think that is one thing which has very nicely come out in this book. Another thing which has very nicely come out in this book, and that is very much aligned to my thought, R&D and continuous innovation. Innovation, but continuous innovation. It distinguishes in some chapter of the book that innovation, okay, but in today's world of dynamically changing the technologies and disruptions taking place, we cannot feel that we have researched something and that is the end of it. It has to be continuous innovation, and the book paints, and perhaps rightly so, a very negative picture about Indian industry, which I mentioned right in the beginning, that we have been giving absolutely, in most cases, in almost all cases, no regard to this important and a very powerful tool of economic growth, very powerful tool of corporate growth, very powerful tool of in doing any business. And it has come out very well. It's come out very well, and very arguably the conclusions have been reached. Then it does depend on some of the researches which the group has done, and which was slightly hinted by or elaborated by Mr. Narayanan, and that is functioning of the board. And it clearly brings out that out of 7, 8 important expectations or items which people, senior management cadre expects from the board, the comparison is just the reverse. People expect 1, 2, 3, but the board conduct is 8, 9, 10, and it says that compares the importance assigned by senior management versus priority assigned in boardroom discussion by board members to the levers of sustainable competitive advantage. And it says that strategic leadership, ethical governance, continued innovation, which senior management sample has rated to be high 1, 2, and 3 rank respectively, are given low priority in boardroom discussion, ranking 7, 5, and 6. So what should be 1, 2, and 3 gets to 7, 5, and 6 in the. That is a very, very adverse situation, and that is so. I mean, while I said that the authors have been a little not so kind to the boards as a whole in the country, but I must admit that this statement, according to me, also is a correct statement, that we are giving importance to what should be 7, 8, and 9, or 6, 7, and 7, and what should be 1 and 2 is just the reverse. So I think that's a very, and that is a research thing. That conclusion is a research item, and where it has done wonderful thing, as I said, that from macro to micro, in chapter 4 and 5 of the book, you are not only saying what you are saying on the basis of your research, on the basis of your experience, you have brought down to checklist of various things which should be done or should not be done. I like do's and don'ts, as Mr. Narayanan mentioned, but in greater detail than that, in these 2 chapters. So therefore, that's why I said in the beginning, this is a wonderful book. Because I also keep buying and reading books, several books, and once in a while I get opportunity from friends like, of course, late Pritam Singh, Dr. Pritam Singh, and Asha Bhandarkar, to talk to their participants, senior executives, etc., etc. But then, and in that process, I do try to brush up my own knowledge and look to Googles for some of the literature on the subject. But I would definitely rate this book as an excellent contribution to this subject, and it has done wonderful thing for the management, both in the public sector, in the private sector, and for anybody. And as we said, that management believes in universality principle of management, whether you are running a hospital, or you are running a school, or you are running an industry, or you are running the government, management principles are universal in nature. So this is a book which is worth reading, and which is not only worth reading, worth going into, and worth working out the plan of action, way forward, whatever you do at the board level and at the lower levels. And I think this will be an eye-opener. People should take the book in that spirit, and the public sector management, private sector management, government policy makers and others, and charitable institutions, including Dr. Our
foundation. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
including institutions of your own, Dr. Chaturvedi's institutions. I keep visiting once in a while. Everywhere there is a scope, because I must tell you, I mean, it's a matter of laughing, and it's a matter of also being a little serious about it. I was doing the advanced management course way back in 1985 in IIM Ahmedabad. IIM Ahmedabad is the Makkah of management. At that time, at least it was. I don't know what it is. And Dr. Seth was the director. And for 3 months before we went there and continuing, we had the industrial relations trouble from the canteen fellows, from the helpers, and we are not able to solve that problem. So therefore, academic institutions also suffer from many of these problems. So therefore, this is not only for industry. For that matter, as I said, management is universality principle of management. It is true for everybody. So this book is a must. I have said in my endorsement, and every word I have said, I mean it. This is a must for everyone who has to do anything in society, in charitable institutions, in academic institutions, in industry, in business, in government. Thank you very much for this invitation.